What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the John Squared Gaming Show, episode 12. I'm one of your hosts, John T, and joining me, as always, John R, without a name tag. Where'd it go?
Don't need it.
How you doing, John?
Uh,
There it is.
so actually, I was saving this for now. Last night, I had the most vivid nightmare I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, no.
And it was I was in my bed in the nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I heard what sounded like people walking through my house. And I said, "Huh, that's strange, because that's no one should be here." And then they got closer to my room and flashlights came on, and then they banged on my bedroom door and said, "Get ready." And then they came in and they were standing there with ski masks and baseball bats. And I grabbed the dog and I just kind of like threw myself over her and then I woke up.
I was going to
I was
say,
like,
you threw
what the
her
fuck
at
just
them.
happened? I just take her. I don't want her. Please leave me alone.
Dude, similar things happen to me pretty often where I'll be laying in bed and these two motherfuckers are sucking their feet like so aggressively that you can hear it. So like there's times in like it's 3 a.m. and I hear like, and I think I think I hear things downstairs because we got like an air conditioner, a fan running. Like we keep things real cool in the bedroom, and I'll wake up and I think I hear things downstairs. It's just my two dogs sucking the fuck out of their feet.
Dude, I have a mouse somewhere in this house
Mm.
and I I can hear it like almost every night and it drives me nuts.
We had a ton of mice in our garage when it was like full of garbage and stuff. We got rid
Yeah.
of all of it. We had a dumpster and stuff, but I don't do rodents. Um, I hardly
I
deal with my dogs. So,
I don't like killing animals,
hmm.
but like Peter, come for me if you want. I'm getting mouse traps because I'm fed up.
Yeah, I like important animals like dogs, and I guess cats. I guess cats. Eh,
But they have to weigh over 5 pounds or else they're not important. Anything under 5 pounds can get fucked.
I don't know. Peach is pushing that that limit sometimes.
So it might
Anyways,
bump it up to 7.5.
I think she weighs in around 7 pounds. Yeah, I haven't had nightmares in a little while. But a little thing that I'm going through this week, specifically today, my body has really given up on me, and it has been like
Man,
what I have determined is that I have consumed too much beef this week, and yeah, it is not good. My stomach's my tummy hurty, and so I had beef with dinner tonight. No more than 10 minutes after, I was shitting my brains out. Not
this
good.
man said I've had enough beef, so I had beef again tonight.
Well, I didn't realize that it was the beef that was getting me to this point. So I went to a show on Sunday, the first live music that I've attended to in since COVID hit. Wonderful. Saw the stories so far and movements. But we were in Rochester, New York, and for those of you who don't know, Rochester is known for garbage plates. And this garbage plate that I ordered on Sunday consisted of French fries, macaroni salad,
What?
sloppy Joe style beef,
What?
and a big ass burger on top of it.
What?
That's two different forms of beef.
What?
And it was a lot of beef, and I consumed it all. So yeah, I think I need like a detox. I need to just hit up like a Core Life eatery. I gotta hit up whatever, just salad for the next couple days.
Just get Chipotle. It's the same. It'll detox you.
No,
Takes you out.
not in that way.
I
Eh,
think genuinely, I think that's my issue too. Except for instead of like real beef, I had Impossible Burgers yesterday,
mm,
and like thick ass American kiss the flag like cheeseburgers. And it was the first time I've done something like that in a minute. And I think that's why I feel run down today. My body's like, the fuck are you doing?
A lot of people in my life have told me growing up the importance of what you consume and how it actually does make a difference on how you feel. And I always thought it was bullshit until
It
I
is.
hit past 25 years old. I've learned that it's not bullshit. I do believe them now.
Dude, 26, everything's hit me like a fucking train.
Yeah, it's
This
all
is
downhill
insane.
from here, baby.
I'm like, I look red in the face, and I can assure everybody I'm not. My camera light is very bright, brighter than normal, and pointed directly at me.
You also look like you're sweaty.
I'm not. I'm
Okay. Hmm.
freaking dry.
Well, things aren't
Looks
always
like
what
it's
they
just
look like, I suppose.
100 degrees in my area. That's all it is. I turned this into a sauna.
It's a nice way to lose weight. Anyways, this is a podcast about video
Welcome to the
games.
gaming show.
So before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on podcast services around the world, then give us a review, like it, or just hop on YouTube real quick. You got a Gmail account, you got a YouTube account, everybody does. Hop on there, give us a like, give us a sub. We'd appreciate it a lot. We got a few things to go over for the news. Nothing crazy like last week, but some fun stuff here. So we'll just jump right into it if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. So the PlayStation Plus games were announced today, and in my opinion, they're pretty good. We got for PS5 Overcooked All You Can Eat Collection. That's Overcooked 1 and 2 with all the DLC. My wife and I played Overcooked 2 on the Switch. We didn't play the first one, so I'll be downloading this, giving this a shot. This is a super underrated party game, in my opinion. Hitman 2, which I have not played. I've played Hitman 3, which I'll give this a shot. I'm pretty stoked to try this out because I actually enjoyed Hitman 3 a lot. It feels like it was last year that it came out, but it was earlier this year. And so
I have no concept of time with like releases this year.
seriously. And then Predator Hunting Grounds, a game that I thought looked really cool. Reviews say it flopped, but I wouldn't. I would say there's a small chance of me trying this game, but I might if the boys are down.
I was gonna say I'm down to try it. I don't know how much space is left on my PlayStation, but we can make room.
Yeah, so these will be available, I believe, next Tuesday. They're usually available the first Tuesday of the month. If you guys are looking for a party game and don't have a Switch, don't have Mario Party available, Overcooked is super fun. I really, really, really do recommend this. This is something I could see us streaming in the future. But yeah, let us know if you're excited about any of these games. I was pretty excited. The general consensus on Twitter was that they were disappointed, but I think Hitman 2 and then Overcooked, and like Overcooked, this collection came out for PS5 like around launch. So it's relatively new. I think it's a really good value. The last couple months have been kind of
Yeah,
but I like this one a lot.
I mean, Hitman 2 is the only game I'm really interested in. I've never played I had been. Someone just asked me the other day, I think, about Overcooked,
Hmm.
and I said I'd never played it before. I might give it a shot. Um, but yeah, I mean, it has been kind of lackluster.
It
Past
was
couple months.
weird because it felt like in the winter we were like getting a couple banger months. We had that month with Final Fantasy VII Remake, which just felt like such an insane thing to include. But since then it kind of has felt a little meh. Next up we got a rumor leak of a Nintendo Direct for September. I don't. Whenever I see these, especially over like the last year when we were rumored every month to get one, and we went almost, I think it was like 8 months without getting a actual direct. But a known leaker, his name's Zippo, said that Nintendo is preparing for a general direct next month. It's not official or anything like that, obviously, but it's set to take place in September and will give us peeks at the rest of the games for 2021 and games coming in um, early 2022. So even if that Nintendo announced this now, I don't know how excited I would be because I don't think Breath of the Wild is going to be a part of it. I don't think any major announcements are coming. I think they're going to focus a lot on Metroid Dread, which is a game that
Yeah.
I am interested in, but um
That's the
if
thing is like Pokemon Direct. If it was something that had to do with that, maybe. If it had to do with Breath of the Wild, again, maybe. Like I'm not huge on any of the things that they have cooking up right now
yeah,
outside of those two things.
I don't think we're going to see Breath of the Wild until like March 2022, around that like springtime. Um and that might just be me trying to temper my expectations and my hype level. Um By the way, everyone, this where the Zelda thing is normally right here. I had one of those plate the metal plate. I forgot what they're called. I can't remember off the top of my head. Like place it, I think they're called. But in the middle of the night, a couple nights ago, I hear this crash, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I'm like searching around, can't find anything. Wake up in the morning when I come in this room, I realized that it fell off the wall, knocked the Xbox shelf down, and everything was on the floor. Um, so don't. I mean, I thought it was gonna be set, but it did fall off the wall, and that was kind of disappointing. I'll get it back up by next week, but
Well, that's Danny. Did
go ahead.
what were you saying?
I was gonna
I didn't mean to
say
cut you off at the
the
end.
Nintendo Direct talk was what made me think of it.
Oh, see, this isn't related to. If we go back a story, it's related to Sony. Danny DeVito back here. He's pinned up because he kept falling, and I got sick of it.
Yeah, we're going with command strips moving forward. Command strips have never let me down.
Well, they're letting Danny DeVito down. They've let him down 17 times at
Oh
least.
no.
That's why he's pinned in until I get a frame.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to care too much about anything from other than Breath of the Wild. There's nothing you'd want to see from Nintendo.
Yeah. No, we know how I feel about them.
Yeah, we
Unless it's
want.
like a new Mario RPG. Not RPG. That's the wrong word. Open. Is it open world? Is that what Odyssey is? Technically,
I wouldn't say it's open world.
I don't know.
Just a
Whatever Odyssey
a
was.
3D Mario game.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. I was gonna go through everything else before I said that. Uh, yeah. If it's another like Mario game that isn't Mario Party, I might be interested.
Something you are interested in, I can guarantee it, is The Last of Us. Um, Developer Naughty Dog. I mean, we knew we know that they're known for more than that, but the article calls them Last of Us developers. Naughty Dog is hiring for the first ever standalone multiplayer game. This is from Eddie Makuch. Did he
Answer
just get me
that.
what? Did he just get me with a Ligma joke? Is his name Eddie Makuch? Sorry, brother. Sorry if I messed your name up. Anyways, Last of Us developer Naughty Dog is aggressively hiring for studio's first standalone multiplayer game. Since the California studio has more than a dozen open positions for the game, but what exactly is it? The Last of Us and Uncharted developer Naughty Dog has officially put out the call looking for developers to join the studio to work on its first ever standalone multiplayer game. A tweet from the Naughty Dog jobs account list off around a dozen jobs at the studio across disciplines pertaining to the new game. One of the jobs is the monetization economy designer position that has been open for some time now. So this is what the Naughty Dog jobs Twitter account says. It says, embark on the Naughty Dogs on, I keep saying the Naughty Dogs. Embark on Naughty Dog's newest adventure, the studio's first standalone multiplayer game. We're seeking to bring the same level of ambition and quality of our signature story-driven games to this unique multiplayer project. This is a rare opportunity to make an impact in your discipline and craft an experience that will be enjoyed and shared by millions of players around the world. John, is this just The Last of Us factions, do you think, or do you
Yeah.
think this is something else?
All signs are pointing towards it is in fact factions. Um, it's got to be that. I mean, they could be making just a multiplayer game,
Yeah.
but the way that they're making it sound is they're trying to get whatever it is done as soon as possible. And because Factions was it teased or rumored? No, it wasn't rumored, was it? It was like actually talked about, right?
It was like supposed to launch with part 2 and then they
Yeah.
kind of delayed it. So,
So that's in my head. I'm thinking they're trying to rush it out. Like they're trying to get it finished and out now. So they're hiring aggressively to try to get people in to finish it instead of like overworking their employees. They're trying to just bring on more staff to, you know, share the load, get it done quicker.
yeah, I I don't know. I think that if I had to put money on it, I would say it's Factions, but it seems, I don't know. Like the picture of the tweet had Ellie on it, so like I feel like it's almost like a given. That's what it is. But is there a chance that it's something else? Maybe. I just don't know. It's so weird.
It
I
would be
go ahead.
it would be cool to have them come out with like a brand new IP that's a multiplayer game. Um, it's just not their MO, is it?
Would you prefer that over a Factions? Last of Us Factions?
I don't know. I think my wallet would probably prefer it, but like I don't I don't know
Yeah,
because I feel it would take longer to build an IP from the ground up than to just make factions. And I want new content.
probably yeah. I think I don't know. I just multiplayer and Naughty Dog does not like in my head. It's just like that would be a side project alone. I can't think of like
Yeah.
a standalone game being and just because it's not something that they've ever done other than the original Factions. But that's not a standalone game. It's not a game that they're selling as its own thing. So I don't know. I would prefer it just to be Factions because I don't know if I want like if I what I want from Naughty Dog at this point is a new IP, a new story, new characters, something that's aside from anything Uncharted or Last of Us. Like I hope that their main project is something of that nature, even if it
They
is Last of Us 3, which I don't think it is right now. I don't think so,
no,
but
no.
that's just what
In
I'm
that
hoping from Naughty Dog though.
in that article I think they say outright, Naughty Dog is not making any more Uncharted games. They said they're more than willing to bring like another if a team wants to come in and work on it, that's fine, but they're not gonna do it. They're done with Uncharted and Neil Druckmann said that Last of Us Part 3 probably won't be here for another like 4 years at the very, very least.
Yeah, I it's
I
just
don't know
in
if it's
it.
that article or a different one, but I know that he said like 5 to 6 years is the expected timeline for the next Last of Us installment. And I saw a rumor this weekend, not this weekend, what day is it? Monday, that Lev was going to be the character that you follow in Last of Us Part 3.
Hmm. Yeah, the only thing I think confirmed from Naughty Dog is that they have ideas for the
Yeah.
the third game. So, they I don't know. I hope we get something soon, at least an announcement of what to look forward to. But and we've obviously talked about this how the Last of Us series in general is my favorite video game story or thing of all time. I just kind of am wanting something new from Naughty Dog. I want them to show something else that they're because Uncharted 4 and then The Last of Us Part 2, obviously they're completely different like in terms of like story and but like it's been a lot of this like dark like black, gray, brown like style like I just want something new and fresh from them. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I want to see? Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to see them remake the Jack and Daxter franchise.
Yeah. So there
I
was an
couldn't tell if that was sarcastic or not.
no, there was another interview that I actually read a little before this and I didn't add it in, and I kind of wish I did, but it would have added a lot. Like it almost could be a topic. Um like the length of the interview. And the interviewer asked them about returning to a Crash Bandicoot style or a Jack and Daxter, and they would kind of shut it down like almost immediately. I
Fuck
wouldn't.
them. The Last of Us 2 did suck.
There we go. Add Naughty Dog to Nintendo, John Shitlist.
Dude, I love Jack and Daxter. The second game is a lot darker than I remember it being.
mhm.
Because I started on stream and then finished it off stream. And it is a lot darker than I thought, but man, are they fun.
I've never finished a full game, so maybe that's something I should put on my to
You
do
should.
list. Yeah.
I have a list of things for you to do.
I have a list of things for me to do. My wife has a list of things for me to do, but I don't do any
We
of
gotta
that.
we gotta make an I think the list of stuff that you want yourself to do, that's last. It's Lauren, me, you.
Unfortunately, yeah, I think that is the case.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are not done talking about Naughty Dog or PlayStation just yet, because another rumor, almost confirmed leak, I guess. Um, all of the Uncharted games are coming to PC. This is
Yes,
from
sir.
Ben Tyrer at
Bent
Games Radar.
tire?
Ben Tyrer.
I think you're being pranked today.
Tyrer.
Tire.
And there's an R. There,
TYR.
ER. Tyrer.
I don't like that. Just change his name.
I just feel like a lot of these guys and girls have a lot of hard names to say, and I don't appreciate it.
It was like a Dan Smith.
Yeah, something like some two generic names, one after the other. You know,
Like a John Townsend or a John Rayfield.
yeah, right, exactly. No, your name gets messed up way more often than mine ever does.
Yeah, I think my dad told me at one point that he doesn't even know the correct pronunciation. And it's like that's sick.
I remember in school, when people would call you John Raphael, and I would be like, "It is not Raphael,
Raphael,
you
Rafael,
idiots." Yeah,
anything but how it's actually pronounced.
it was like a mission of mine to correct everybody. Anyways, Uncharted Collection PC leaks and includes all 5 games. Drake's apparently heading to Steam and Epic Games Store. This is an Uncharted PC collection containing all 5 games in the series has reportedly leaked. A Reset Era post shows an apparently leaked image of a social post announcing a new Uncharted collection being released for Steam, Epic Games Store. Steam and Epic Games Store. The ad shows that every Uncharted console game, including the spin-off Lost Legacy, which is great by the way, will be included in the package. John.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, without thinking too much, rank all the Uncharted games.
Oh, fuck you. Like best to worst?
Yep.
3, 4, 2, 1, DLC, not DLC, whatever the other one is, because I never played it.
Okay. Almost agree. For me, it's
maybe it's 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck.
I think it's 4, 2, 3, 1. Or well, if we're counting Lost Legacy, I think it's 4 Lost Legacy, 2, 3, 1.
Which one has the train? You
2.
start off climbing the train.
2.
Okay, so it's I changed my order then.
Yeah.
I thought that was so it's I think I agree with you. 4, 2, 3, 1, and then DLC.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they should include Lost Legacy in a PS Plus type thing.
Thought they did.
No, that was the only one they didn't. There was a month where, they included 4 and the Nathan Drake collection.
Yeah.
But
Is it PS Now that had it? The expansion? I know it got added to something like that.
maybe if you guys haven't, play the Uncharted games. What are you doing at this point?
Absolutely, they're so good.
and for you, I really would. I think you would love Lost Legacy, but the story, the story of them just coming, all these games coming to PC is so exciting because
Yeah.
more people get to experience this. It's more people we get to nerd out with and talk to about. Um, I hate when someone asks me for game recommendations or story recommendations and they have like Xbox or PC. And like obviously there are games that I can recommend on those platforms, but when you're talking about story and like cinematics, like Naughty Dog is where it's at. And so I think this is just really great for gaming in general. I'm really
I
excited
mean,
about this.
as much as like uh Xbox and PC, I think at this point have a wider selection of games to choose from. PlayStation's story-driven like games are untouchable. I mean, I don't think there's anything that anything on the well, I can't say the Epic Game. I don't know what's on the Epic Game Store or Steam. There's nothing that isn't like an exclusive to Sony that isn't great. Did that make sense?
Sure. um
I don't know.
yeah,
Who am I? What's going on?
I I get what you're saying though, where it's the yeah, there is a lot on Xbox and obviously PC. PC has like forever worth of games, you know. Um, but PlayStation knows what they want in their games and they do it very well. And a lot of people um are I can see how some people are like sick of it, but it's when I look at what I want in a video game, it is what PlayStation has, and that's why it'll forever be my preferred platform. As much as I
Yeah.
love Xbox, I love everything they're doing this generation. In my opinion, they are beating, not in sales, in just in services and stuff like that. I think Xbox is beating PlayStation. I think it's way more fun to be a part of the Xbox ecosystem so far this generation. Obviously, when Sony brings out the heavyweights, when they bring out the Horizon, they bring out God of War, and they bring out whatever's coming from Naughty Dog and Spider-Man, then we're having a different conversation. But so far, Xbox has been, considering they haven't had a major first party game before, I guess Psychonauts 2, you could say, which we'll talk about in a little bit. They haven't had that major thing and that major release, and still it feels fun to be a part of that ecosystem. So,
You know,
um, yeah, go
something that
ahead.
there's two things. First, I saw someone on Twitter today say they were part of the like they self-proclaimed themselves part of the PC master race.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
common.
kid's he's a fucking virgin. So is anybody else that says that.
Yeah,
But then my second point, it just dawned on me that maybe the Sony games are getting delayed not just because they need to work on them further, but because they're waiting for PS5s to become more widely like more people to have them
sure.
so they can play them on the next gen console.
Yeah, and I think the more Xbox delays their announcements, I think the more comfortable PlayStation is like hanging back. Like, obviously, I think something else has to come out other than Deathloop. Something has to fill, and it's not because the only like things that Sony could or PlayStation could announce that combats Halo in the fall is God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, something like that, and they don't have anything. There's nothing that they can announce right now that is going to rival Halo, but at least have something for PlayStation owners to like even if it's a Death Loop level
Well,
of game, you know?
I think they're genuinely relying on uh I don't would you call them third party developers in
Yeah,
like Ubisoft and
for
whoever's
far
making Back for Blood, whoever's making I mean Deathloop, which is Bethesda, right? Not
Arcane, which
Bethesda.
is yeah, it
Yeah.
is Bethesda. So it'll be the
Okay.
last Bethesda,
Yeah,
other than the Skyrim re-release in November. Um,
I hope that doesn't come to PlayStation. I hope it stays the fuck away. I don't want to see it.
um, yeah. So those will be the last, like, overall,
But I think
releases.
they're using those to bide their time for like their actual console exclusives. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I still do think they need to have something else. Because I mean, meanwhile, like Xbox was relying on the third parties throughout this entire year when
Yeah.
PlayStation had Returnal and Ratchet and stuff like that. Um, Now it almost just feels like it's Xbox's turn, and then next year is when we're gonna start seeing, you know, what
It's
PlayStation actually has.
and it's also Sony doesn't feel any pressure because they outsold by a pretty wide margin. I mean,
Yeah,
so they as far as they're concerned, they made their money. They don't. I mean, go ahead, sell your Game Pass, whatever. Go ahead, release Halo. That's fine. Like next year, we're gonna bury you again. Like we already won this year. We're gonna do it again next year.
I think that's the mindset. I do think that they're like, okay, but the problem with that is, I guess, if they get too complacent,
Yeah,
and then like these Bethesda games hit next year, and like other things coming to Game Pass really hit. I think we'll start seeing at least a closing of the gap. Is closing a word?
yeah,
Let me Google
yeah.
it.
No, don't do that to yourself.
Closing. No, it's not. Wait, no,
It would
it's not.
be the correct is closing of the gap.
Um, well,
I just
I
didn't want to
like
correct
to
you.
consider myself a revolutionary.
One of
Um,
them illiterates.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I was gonna transition to this a minute ago, talking about how that Deathloop and Skyrim will be the last Bethesda games coming to PlayStation.
And
Um,
that's it.
and that's
Get it out of your head.
fucking
That is
it.
it. No
Uh,
more. Nothing.
Starfield for PS5 is not happening. Everyone, please shut the fuck up about it. It's it's really sad to see like PlayStation weirdos who um and obviously this is just like people on Twitter and Reddit and whatnot clinging on to some kind of hope that
They're the fucking Jim Carrey gif where he's like, so you're saying there's a chance?
yeah. But the thing is, like, when Xbox bought Bethesda, they were like, oh, the games aren't that good anyways, like they're buggy messes. And then they're just like, but can we please have
Well,
Starfield,
but
please?
in
Like,
in the Virgin's defense, that Phil Spencer said they're not going to be like they're going to be available for everybody. And
he
then
never
once
said
it
that
came,
directly.
he implied that they would be available on all consoles because he didn't want to keep them from gamers or whatever. The virgins,
I think,
as
well,
the public would call them.
he said case by case, and it has been case by case because we've had Skyrim.
We've had a Skyrim that's coming out in a couple years for an anniversary we don't need to do, and we've
Mhm.
had Deathloop, and that's it. Everything else is going Xbox, and that's shady.
And I will say, Deathloop is only, I believe, a year exclusive. So if you have an Xbox and you can wait a year, it'll be on Game Pass next September. Um, Anyways, shout out to Hope Bellingham because it's a name that I am getting right, I assume, and it's easy to say. And she's from Games Radar. So Starfield PS5 is not happening according to Bethesda. It says, as spotted by the VGC, Senior Vice President and Global Marketing at Bethesda, Pete Hines, and General Manager of Xbox's Marketing, Aaron Greenberg, took to Twitter on August 30th to dispel the rumors that Starfield was also coming to PS5 following a misunderstanding during Bethesda's Gamescom 2021 stream. Uh, so it says during the stream on the topic of Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda, Pete Hines mentioned that there are going to be some Bethesda games that you're not going to be able to play on PlayStation. Moving on to the topic of the studio's upcoming RPG Starfield, Hines also stated it was announced as a thing that's Xbox exclusive. I don't know if I would go so far to say that you're done ever playing stuff on PlayStation, but again, I don't know the answer to that right now. So that is the gray area that PlayStation, Twitter, I guess, kind of clung to.
And it's
So
basically they're saying like maybe in a year or two we'll cut a deal. But like they won't. They have no reason to.
I think it's more of them saying we'll continue supporting Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 and remastering or re-releasing old Bethesda
Yeah, you'll
games.
have Skyrim for the next 20 years and that's it.
You're right.
You'll be fucking happy.
This last comment caused some Bethesda fans to begin speculating. That means that this meant Starfield would eventually come to PS5. However, as Hines and Greenberg's tweets clarified, Starfield is still an Xbox exclusive, and that this fact has not and will not change. They said in their tweets. So it's not happening.
Get over it, nerds.
It's very safe to assume going forward that any new title from Bethesda will be on Xbox and PC only.
Yeah.
Buy an Xbox or have a good enough internet connection to stream it if you're not happy with it.
It does suck that's where we're at. I mean, I get it, it's business, but it does suck. Because there are people that maybe bought a PS5 back last year when this deal wasn't like. Did it happen last year before the consoles released? It did, right? Or was it right after?
There was the announcement that there was a verbal agreement before. Yeah. I believe it was before the consoles came out, and then it was official in
right after
March.
Yeah, so
this year,
people that bought PS5s had this idea because of Phil Spencer's thing that they weren't just going to take these games from them; they would still have a chance. Then they bought a PS5. If they bought a disc version, that's what 600, 500, or 600, 500,
500.
Yeah, and now they don't have the money to buy an Xbox, and it's like, well, okay, you just don't get to play it then. Sorry, move on. That sucks.
But Xbox is giving people cheap entryways into their ecosystem where they're not saying pay $500 or fuck off. It's if you have, and I would say most families have some form of laptop in their house or computer.
Can they run it well?
I'm saying streaming. You could do it from your phone if you were desperate enough, you have the option to stream the game, which is not the best way to play it. Obviously, I'll never I personally could never have that as my only option, but that's coming from me who I am well invested
on one controller.
Yes.
Even though you already had 3.
Precisely. But from someone who for me, when I was younger, having that as an option where if I could just get some, if I had access to the internet and I could stream it, okay, that's not good enough for you. You don't have to spend $500. You can opt for the Series S at $300, which is obviously, I'm not 300 is still a lot for some families. I get that, but they're not they're giving people options at this point, and that's something that PlayStation doesn't do. It's either pay $400 or $500. If not, fuck off. That is as simple as that. Where Xbox is giving people different options to play these games. So if it came down to either or Microsoft or Sony buying Bethesda, I'm glad it was Microsoft. For the general like gaming public, and that's as someone who is like, I am privileged enough to have a PC, an Xbox, and a PlayStation, so I have all my grounds covered. But not
Yeah,
everyone has that privilege, and I understand that, and and like that just matters. And so I guess I would have preferred them not to be purchased um
at all.
at all. But
Yeah,
if they were going to, I'm glad that it was Microsoft who's going to give people options to play it, and easy options at that. So,
I guess I'm backing down immediately. I realized I was wrong in the argument, and
well, I mean,
but
uh,
my thing is like I'm trying to think of people that like maybe they have like a maybe they don't have a lot of income in the
yeah,
family, right? So like
right.
they have like a track phone. They don't have a smart TV. They they saved up the money to buy like a PS5 and now they just can't play it. And that's I
Yeah.
guess it's a very very specific thing that I'm talking about where like it sucks cuz now
But
you lost
but it
this
exists. Like those people, like, like it.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I
And
definitely see what you're saying.
it's the unfortunate I guess my issue is more so not with these companies but more so with like studios being bought up. Like cuz this is the future of it now. And that sucks.
Yeah, and it almost feels like for people who can't afford both, to be on both sides, they're gonna have to pick and choose what studios are most important to them, and that does
Yeah.
suck. Um,
And this like big noble quest to make gaming more accessible, you're somehow making it less accessible
yeah,
to certain audiences, and that blows.
yeah. I'll never understand when people are like get hyped over things being exclusive to certain platforms. Um, even so, I know it's coming from someone like me. It sounds like, dude, just like shut the fuck up because you have all these means to play. Um, but like, I genuinely do feel like, for example, with Call of Duty, the betas, like there's all these betas coming out that are exclusive to PlayStation only. Like, I think that sucks. When you're
Yeah.
paying for the rights for a beta for a third party game, where these like there are millions of Call of Duty players on Xbox and PC. Like, why are we like you're paying to exclude people, and like there's people who take pride in that, and I just think it's corny personally. Um,
But
like
at the
not
same time, that's on the studio who could say,
Yeah,
no,
no,
we
obviously,
want to make it accessible to everybody.
yeah, I
And
agree.
that's just, I mean, that's Activision being Activision.
But it's not just Activision though. This
No,
is, I
no.
mean, even Square Enix making Final Fantasy VII Remake exclusive to PlayStation for over a year. I thought it was a year exclusivity, but um, anyways, yeah, you guys get our point. And this
We went
we
on longer than I thought on that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be said, and I think that there's like
Yeah.
aspects that people don't think about, and a lot of it is like Twitter people who think that their voice is louder than the general public and stuff. And I think that there is a conversation to be had about people who like general public who only do have access. And even if you're like well off, um like not everyone wants to spend and invest money in technology. Like not everyone wants to have both next gen consoles. But well, yeah, we could keep going and saying the same thing over and over again. Also, I told myself today, before recording, that I wouldn't do the air quotes today, because I feel like I've been doing it a lot lately, and I did it anyway. So I failed at that today, everyone.
I think it's funny that like, if you say something straight but you do the air quotes, only the video people know.
Yeah,
Audio
right.
people never know.
I'll
I
like
like that
I'll
little
like
secret.
I'll like say it with like a little bit different tone of voice, I feel like, but it's
I think it's funnier if you don't. Just leave them out of the joke.
so yeah, that's it for the news. Um yeah, like I
Next
said,
segment.
not much to I think it's a lot of fun stuff just cuz there's even if
Oh,
it's not like official, but
I have a new story to add.
oh, okay, go ahead.
Kind of. There's no like link or anything. I saw a tweet of a man that got to test out Far Cry 6, and he
Yes.
said he played 2 hours and then told Ubisoft, "I you can take it back. I don't want to play anymore."
Um actually I did I should have added that. That's on me.
But I
There
mean, it's
is
not something that we can say much about except for from what we've seen in the last two like teasers. Um, and based on this, it seems like this isn't going to be the big hit that I think they were hoping it would be.
not so fast though because there was a general like games media preview of Far Cry 6 and
Was it good?
there was a couple outlets saying like my so I listened to Kind of Funny and like their preview of it and
Come on the show.
that would be a dream, you know, that I seriously that would be like if we ever got to that point that would be really sick. But anyways, so like Greg Miller and Blessing Adeoye and Janet Garcia they did a preview for Kind of Funny and they were like Janet and Greg were the ones I believe who played it and they mostly had positive things to say, but it's just Far Cry, but like there's a little bit more tweaks, but it like isn't it's not a flop by any means. Like a lot of
Yeah.
Greg was saying that it was the most excited he's been to play a full Far Cry game since Far Cry 3 and so I still am excited for it and I'm interested in it. But it's just not reinventing the wheel by any means from the what we got from the preview of these people. Like there was a whole Kotaku thing on Twitter who they didn't get invited to it and then they were just shitting on everybody else's previews. Um a if
That's kind
you're
of funny though.
if we're putting any stock into anything Kotaku says at this point, you know, I guess that's on you. I personally just don't I don't even I don't value anything that they have to say because it's just been a lot of bad shit going on there lately.
On the show.
Don't come on the show. um but yeah, I still am excited for it. I think that my mindset going into any Ubisoft game is we know what to expect here. It's still probably going to be some fun, but it's not going to be like mind
Yeah.
blowing by any means. Um,
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but yeah.
you know, and I'll keep doing that until the day I'm proven wrong, and then that'll be a great day. John,
Yes.
what games have you been playing this week?
Uh, not much. So since last week, last Friday I played Elder Scrolls Online with your brothers. My brothers, not by blood, and that was fun. It was a lot more fun than I expected it to be. Um, Played a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. Played a little more Hellblade. That's it. I've been in this weird place where like I don't know if it happens to you or but like I'm overwhelmed because there's so many games I want to play and so many shows I want to watch and so many things I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like I get so overwhelmed that I can't do any of them. So like this week was a lot of like trying to do stuff but not being like I played like maybe an hour
Yeah.
worth of video games so far this week.
Yeah, I definitely feel you. There was I think Monday I was sitting on the couch and I had my Xbox controller and my PlayStation controller and I was like kind of want to play a little bit more Ghosts. I know I have to play some more Hellblade, and I really want to play Psychonauts, and I kept going back and forth and back and forth, and I ended up just falling asleep, and
Yep.
I didn't play any of them.
Dude, I had the exact same thing. Like on my coffee table, I had my Xbox controller, my PlayStation controller, and then while I was trying to figure it out, I started this is gonna be fucking dorky as shit. I started Boruto, which is the sequel to Naruto.
Hmm.
And so I was watching that while I was trying to make up my mind of what to play, either Hellblade or Ghost. And then I looked at my phone and realized it was 10 p.m. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm not playing anything. I'm going to bed.
Bedtime.
And that's happened 3 of the last 4 days in a row.
Um, yeah. So I played a little bit more Hellblade. And we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yep.
I did start. I started Psychonauts 2. I got like 3-ish hours into it. Um, we're gonna talk about this probably when you get a chance to play it a little bit more. But I do want to just say, just being like 3-ish hours, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. Um, this is going to be in contention for my game of the year for sure. Um,
Good to
I
hear.
it is fucking phenomenal. Obviously our first ever um book club game was the first Psychonauts back in June, right? I believe
Yeah.
June.
No.
And
July. Shadow of the Colossus was still this month. It was the beginning of August. And then Hellblade's end of August.
what the fuck do I know? Anyways, we did it, and it was our first one. And my biggest complaints were generally just had to do with like age
Yeah.
and stuff like that. This game fix it obviously fixes the age factor coming out this year. But
This one came out in 2021, but it
I
doesn't feel like it.
I just feel like before it felt like Double Fine had like something to say about mental health and stuff like that, and this time they just absolutely know for sure, and it feels like they have such a good grasp on what they're trying to say. And because in 2005 the general like mental health discussion isn't as common as it is today, and it's not as, you know, people aren't as like vulnerable and open about talking about the stuff. Now that we're in this space, I think that they it when you guys play this game, I seriously, you don't need to play the first one to play it. It starts off with like a general kind of like walkthrough, or not walkthrough, like it tells you kind of the story so far, you know, like it tells you what's going on. You don't need to play the first one to play it. Obviously they hint at things in the first one, and you'll appreciate it a little bit more, but you don't need to. um if you have an Xbox PC or even just xCloud and or Xbox Cloud Gaming, play this game. You will not regret it. It is so fun. It is funny, and there's just, I don't know. I just can't say enough good things about it, and we'll probably end up having a full like topic dedicated to it, because I think when you play it, you're gonna be like, holy fuck, this is amazing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's probably not going to be for a few weeks now, but yeah,
um
eventually.
yeah, so other than that, like I said, I play a little bit more Hellblade, and then I finished Ghost of Tsushima, the Iki Island expansion. The correct way to say it is Tsushima, and I am trying to fight against my own brain of
You
saying that
you
instead of,
second guess 3/4 of the way through the word.
yeah, I know, because my mouth wants to say Tsushima. Anyways, who cares? The Iki Island expansion I finished. Um, before we get into that, what do you have any updated thoughts on Hellblade so far?
Yeah, actually, I have a big update.
All right.
Uh, I played it without headphones, and that made it easier for me to play. I didn't have a nervous breakdown and have to stop. I could just actually play it, which made it a little bit more enjoyable. I also played it during the day, which helped.
Hmm.
I think being able, like, combining those two things where the sun's still out, and the headphones, I'm not getting voices yelling at me in my ear.
Right.
Which I don't. I mean, you did the Surtur thing where like you have to light the place on fire.
Yeah.
The screams I heard just from the TV, if I had my headphones on, I probably wouldn't have gone through that.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of intense. Um,
Like other than that, it's still, combat it's there. It's not the focus. The puzzles are getting more and more fun for me.
hmm. Uh, my update is I kind
Uh-oh.
of am done. I
Uh-oh.
um I'm gonna finish the game. Obviously,
Yeah.
I will. I am. But it doesn't do anything great other than the
E-
like audio to me. I feel like it's kind of gotten to a point where it's and this I honestly have the awareness to say that this could be because I have all these other like great games to play, that this when this was released, it wasn't a triple A budget. It was more like the double A space where it was more than a regular indie game, but it was like it wasn't full-fledged triple A. And I understand that, but the puzzles are like, okay, I get it,
yeah.
and the combat is, there's nothing new added to it, and I I just feel like it's not a game where when I'm not playing Psychonauts, at work today, I was thinking about playing Psychonauts. When I
Yeah.
was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I was it when
Tsushima.
when I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about playing it and I was wanting to play it. And this game, it's just like I have to.
See, and that's sort of I have that same feeling, but I don't think to the same extent. Like I when I was playing, I would rather like I wish I was playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm gonna keep saying it like that. I'm not gonna try to
That's
butcher it.
yeah.
Uh, but because like I haven't finished the expansion yet. I think I'm close, but I haven't. I
Hmm.
haven't finished it
It's
yet.
not very long. It's a lot shorter than
Yeah,
I thought it was.
that's why I think I'm pretty close already, which I'm a little upset about. But
But
uh,
there's a lot to do outside. We'll talk about it in a second. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. But that's the thing is like this is when this game came out and Horizon Zero Dawn came out around the same time.
I
At least they
believe
were
so.
being
Yeah.
advertised around the same time. And I got them mixed up in my brain
Mm-hmm.
because they are both about girls with red hair, with paint, wearing similar outfits, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought Horizon Zero Dawn was about mental health, and I was really excited to play it for that reason. When that like once I played that, and then the timing of playing this, it's thrown me off in a weird place where like I'm not as interested now. Like I'm still very interested in the idea of it,
Yeah.
but like there's other things where it's like I would rather be playing other games.
Yeah. I feel like we
As much as
picked.
I'm not hating it, but like I think I'm also not giving it like a fair shot.
Yeah, I think we picked a bad time. I mean, this was part of the the book club thing that we were doing, but it's so weird because the first like hour I played, I was like, dude, this is really sick, and then it fell off after, where it's just like, okay, I get what they're trying to do, and maybe in the second game I'll understand a little, like, or they when they have a little bit more budget and stuff to implement some other things where it's not as, like, I just feel like there's no growth other
Yeah.
than the mental aspect of it, which is obviously very important and the main driving point of the game, but I don't, when it just comes to gameplay and moment to moment gameplay, it's not there for me.
Mundane.
Uh I enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus more. Um but yeah,
Oh,
so we'll have this finished by next week. Um right? That's what we planned on doing. Um,
That's what we planned on doing. I don't know if I will hit that
you
deadline,
know,
boss.
um,
I will get as far as I can. I don't know if I'll beat it. If I'm not going to beat it, I'll do videos on it. It's fine.
yeah, and so what I mean, I guess we'll have to figure out what we're doing the following week. I'll be on vacation, so I don't know what we're doing there. If we'll just skip a week or what, but um, next week I'll have an answer for you guys. But yeah, for now, I don't. If anyone's playing along with us, just get through as much as you can. I'll do the same, and we'll talk about it next week. Um, Now on to the topic of the show, which I've obviously been itching to get at, is we're gonna give an overall Ghost of Tsushima review, like thoughts and just overall, like whatever from the game. We are going to have spoilers. So if you have not finished the Iki Island expansion or even the main campaign, I won't. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
If you spoil for me, I will leave.
But if you have not, if you haven't even started it,
Yep.
we'll go into. I'll let John have the like as far as he wants to go. But if you have not finished the main campaign of Ghost of Tsushima, then come
Get
back later.
out.
Come back
Get
later.
out.
Because we're gonna go full into this. Last warning. 3, 2,
Get
1.
out.
John,
Leave. Yes, sir.
you included this as one of your favorite games ever made.
Yes, sir.
Why is it on that list for you?
Boy, oh boy, have I repeated myself. I am a broken record when it comes to saying games with good stories are what make my dick hard. And
Mm-hmm.
this sure did get the blood flowing right to the tip of my little peepee. I the even like what Iki Island has done so far. I'm up to the point. I'm just gonna say it now so we can kind of, for your sake. I
Yeah.
just took back Fort Sakai,
Okay.
so I feel like I'm close to the end, but I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even like the story it's telling about Jin's father, and basically being a kind of a tyrant without really like meaning to be, I guess. And the idea of like the I can't remember her name, but his aide or the person that was on like his land in Tsushima, where she said like your father always disagreed with your uncle, and then you're seeing the way his father was, and it was like no, they're kind of similar. Like they're pretty close. But either way, the visuals in it, um, even for being, I'm not gonna say it came out last year. It's not an old game, but like
Right. A last gen
being
game.
yeah, being updated for PS5 has made a huge difference. Uh, even though the fighting is kind of, it's not, I don't want to say repetitive because there are differences, especially when you get into the expansion where you do have to switch off weapons, like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying. That's fucking wild. Um, the combat's fun. The traversing is fun. The world is fun. Um, the characters in it all feel like they're distinct enough to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
At least like the characters that you can interact with, not like the civilians that just say the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Where it's like, thank
So
you,
like,
my lord, for saving me.
geez,
Like,
look out, the Mongols are up that road.
right. Yeah.
The little events like now in this one where the expansion where you like play the flute and you have to move your controller, like shit like
Yeah.
that's even fun. I don't the multiplayer is good. There's not a bad thing about it.
Yeah. So this is a game where last year, in my eyes at least, um, it the detriment of this game was coming out 3 weeks after The Last of Us Part 2 came out. And I played this game. I played both games day one, and at the end of the year, or after playing it, I was like, this game was good, sure, um, but I wasn't like in love with it. And I had a post on my Instagram where I ranked all of my games for 2020, and this was on the B tier list. Um, and this is where I guess I can kind of go back now and getting to dive back into this world and say that I think it was just because it was uh an 8 standing next to a 10, and where like that, like The Last of Us Part 2 set such a high bar. You could put anything next to that and it's just not going to look as good as it to me personally. So going back and playing this game again, I played a little bit of the main story and then I dove right into Iki Island. Um, and I realized immediately that I was wrong. That I think this does belong up into the A tier of games, um, and so I just had a couple notes that I wrote down that this is my favorite open world since Breath of the Wild, and that's not a lot of time. I get that, but um, so after I played Skyrim and it blew my mind, I was like, this is the greatest game ever made, and I believed that until I played Breath of the Wild. But um, I kind of started to get sick of open world games, like, and this that affected how I played Assassin's Creed Origins. Like, I just got so sick of the formula of like the huge map, everything to go to. This is by far the best open world since Breath of the Wild is my favorite open world ever. Um, I felt like this game took a lot of, they learned a lot from that, and they learned the right things from that. Where it's um there's not like directly like little pins on the map that you have to go to for side objectives and stuff. It kind of just like will gently push you in the right direction, and that is either like a swipe up on your touchpad or a bird coming, and like you follow the bird and it'll take you to an object, like a something. And it's just you could say fuck birds, I'm not going, and keep going, and you don't like, sure, you lose out on whatever side thing it is, but you can just keep going, and you can explore the world the way that you want to. And I think that they did that very, very well. And I think this game just goes to show that graphics don't really mean shit unless you have art direction, and this game has art direction. Like,
Yeah.
it is so beautiful. Um, I
That
wrote.
so.
Go ahead.
Oh, keep going. No, keep going.
I bamboo strikes are my favorite mini game. I literally could just do bamboo strike. I wish that there was a mode where it's just only bamboo strikes and I could just play that and I would play it all day. I don't know what it is about that. It is my favorite side thing to find in the open world. Um, I fucking love it. But yeah, go ahead.
See, I'm big on fox dens. I think fox dens are my favorite. Uh, but two things. I finally finished this for the first time. Like I played through the story, finished it
Mm-hmm.
for the first time. Incredible ending. Do you remember it?
Yes. Yep.
Where like you have to fight your uncle?
Yeah.
That fuck,
What choice did you
bro.
make at the
Uh,
end?
I let him live.
I killed him. So yeah, I was gonna say, um,
So my thing was based on the way I had acted throughout the game, where it's basically like you become the ghost fully,
right.
or you keep samurai roots. And I said, fuck it, I'm the ghost. I mean, I'm not gonna kill you just because you're a fucking prick. Like, go ahead and go into hiding, do what you got to do. Especially because like I think it adds a layer since like he cowered to the shogun. Like he just kind of wrote you off like, oh well, fuck him.
Yeah,
And
so I the overall theme of this game, if you don't agree, then that's like just tell me.
we'll
But
fight about it.
I think it's um your morals versus adapting and changing your morals based on things like what is best for the people that you love.
Yeah,
Um and so obviously him being raised as a samurai with what they consider honor and facing your enemies face to face and um just the stuff that makes samurais having um obviously in this throughout the game, the early part of the games and throughout the like that whole first couple acts, the way of the samurai was being defeated, and it was so like it just was not working. And if they had stuck to those ways,
they
the
would have lost.
Mongols, yes, right, and to the samurai, that just means they were bettered and they would accept that. So yeah, it's the
And
way
that's
that I looked at this was like at the ending. I mean, um, even though I I fully became the ghost, I fully I adapted and I adopted that lifestyle, that fighting style of I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect the people that I love. And at the end of the day, I still loved my uncle, and that's the way that he chose to like if that's what he wants and he thought was best, then that's what I was gonna do for him, and that's why I did decide to kill him. But yeah, what were you saying?
see, the reason I let him live was when it went back to like when he ate the uncle Lord Shimura was gonna sacrifice a big chunk of that army just so he can attack head on instead of like being
Right.
smart. That was fucking stupid and annoyed me. And then uh their conversation where Jin says you're a slave to your honor.
Yes.
Like that I think influenced my final decision more than anything else because like he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were 100% willing to kill the person you consider your son because someone
Right.
said you should. You were going to cut his head off and bring it to the Shogun because the Shogun didn't like that he helped you win a war. Like that's ridiculous. And I think the way to really send that, like hammer that message home, is to beat him in a fight and then make him live with it.
Yeah, no, that's fair too, and there's obviously arguments to be made for both, and I like at the time I wish I could have made both and saw what happened, but
You get different
overall,
colored armor, I can tell you that much.
oh really?
Like you got white armor, I'm assuming. I got red.
Hmm.
I looked it up afterwards to see what I was missing out on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this overall, I don't think that this game, there are so many like video gamey aspects to it that a lot of people were like uh thought that it took away from the story, and I think that I maybe got caught up in that last year when I played this for the first time, of just like, whereas like The Last of Us and other PlayStation games like that, like they are so like true to the story, cinematic and stuff, and this had more video game like bamboo strikes and stuff like that, where
Yeah.
like other things that make it a video game. And playing through it again this year, uh recently obviously with the director's cut, like I don't think that the story got enough credit for um I to me, what makes it a good a story, a good story is people when they are told this story, if you can think like how this would apply to your life, like what lessons could I learn and apply this to my life, and what would this look like for me. And so far in what you've seen of Iki Island, where it is like my father's enemy is not my enemies, like I'm willing to set these things aside to do what's better for the people that I love. And like I think that that is very compelling. I think that the thought of like what morals would I sacrifice to protect the people that I love in my life, you know?
And it's also like these people on Iki Island, he owes them like they hate him. They want him dead. If
Yeah.
they knew who he was, they would want to kill him. And he's still looking out for them. I mean, granted, it is to, like keep the people out of his home, but ultimately, like he could just wait on that like the shore, and if they showed up, fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Instead, he's choosing to go to them and like get them out, and it shows how Jin is as like as a person. And
Right.
I've said it before. Assassin's Creed is my favorite game franchise, and the one thing everyone's been begging for years is to make a game in feudal Japan.
Hmm.
And Ubisoft hasn't. They've made like I think they made like a short like side-scrolling kind of game, but they've never done a full thing. And this felt like if they kept going after Syndicate and made Assassin's Creed games more like Assassin's Creed and not RPGs,
Yeah.
this would have been the one that takes place in Japan.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that like this is the Assassin's Creed game that Assassin's Creed game fans like this is what they wanted last year.
Yeah,
Like they were like where Ubisoft is kind of sticking to where they are, like this is the Assassin's Creed game that the fans wanted. And obviously I hadn't played Assassin's Creed before this, so I like and even now I had very limited um like play time with that, but I can see that being the case. I just think that um uh, obviously I played most of Origins. Like I streamed a lot of it. I played a little bit past the point where I streamed, and um it
I think
almost
you
felt
only
like,
got about a third of the way through that, if I'm being honest.
well, I felt
There,
like I started to get more story as I was going along, and I understood I like at first I was like, this is nowhere near the storytelling level that a lot of other games that I play are, but I think that I started to feel like it was picking up. But yeah, I in terms of open world games and like storytelling, like I don't think open world games are the best format for telling great stories. I think that it's very hard to tell a compelling story through an open world format because there's so much filler that goes into these games. And like I personally don't think you could tell a 10 out of 10 story in an open world game. That's just my
that
own, like I've never seen it done, and like this story is great, but it's not like perfect.
I'd argue the opposite. I
Hmm.
mean, as long as you're coming at it from the frame point that the world is its own character that you're interacting with, I feel like, I mean, The Last of Us Part Two was not open world, but that was a relatively open world type game, and the city of Seattle and the way it looked.
That was like the only part I would consider open world, but
I mean, there was a lot. It wasn't like you were on a track, you know, like through some of the combat things you were, but for the most, like when you first get to like Seattle and you're running around and there's that giant open grass field that you're just going wherever. I mean, that's the kind of shit I consider open world, even if it's technically not.
I think the
Eh,
Seattle portion of Last of Us is a small open world game. I think
yeah,
that's the only part
and
that I would consider that. But
but like that's I mean that's just the example I can use because it's the easiest, right? Like the way that looks and shit. That's essentially a character that you're interacting with that gives more to the story. I think
yeah,
in the same way where in Ghost of Tsushima, like if you're just riding down the road, you'll run into a group of Mongols who have people kidnapped, or they had just killed people and like stolen their stuff, and like that's part of the world. And interacting with that stuff, it gives you a little bit more of insight as to what's going on there. You know?
yeah. And I think that Ghost of Tsushima does it better than most. But I think that it's a hard thing to do, and I think that at some point the open worldness of a lot of games take away from the story, and that's why I think Breath of the Wild is so great, because it basically is like you only like the story that you want to tell is up to you, where like it you could go through the entire game and hardly tell any story. um but I think that the more you explore that character, that if you're looking at the world as a character, the more you explore that, the more story you get. And so that's very unique for me. I don't think any other game has ever done something like that, um to the extent that they have. And but yeah, so I agree that it can be done. I just don't think it's ever done well, with rare exceptions. And I think that for the most part, Ghost of Tsushima is an exception, where the world does enhance the story, but it still I just still think a game that is on a track, as you say, it's very linear. I think those are just easier to tell stories, and to follow along with stories and stuff. I so, but anyways, yeah, this game, the story I think is just overall very underrated. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
and when you see a lot of reviews and people talking about this game, it rarely is about the story. And I think that, um, like I said, when I'm thinking about how this would apply to my life, and starts making me think of like what I sacrifice, like what this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, when I got accused of being like depressed and wanting to end my life. Like the reason, like what makes us different than other animals, right? And morals is a part of that,
Oh.
because like another animal could kill another animal for their food and wouldn't feel any remorse. And our morals as humans, like that's what makes us human. At least it is a part of what makes us different than other animals. And
Then let me ask you this: Would you would you would you give up jerking off to save your family?
of course, you know, like
My family's dead.
they're genuinely like nothing. I like I don't think there's a thing that I wouldn't give up. I'm trying to think of like what my most hardcore morals are, and most of my morals revolve around my family and the people that I love. You
I mean,
know?
and that's I do like I. If we go back to my nightmare, if someone actually was breaking into my house like that, the first thing I do is make sure the dog is safe, and then I would kill them before they could touch her. Just because I mean that's and I mean I just said I don't want to kill a mouse, but like I would kill people if it meant they would save my dog.
Yeah, and that's like that. I think that's part of what makes people like human. Where I think you need to be flexible with things. Like nothing can ever be when Jen saying you're a slave to your honor, that is very heavy. If
Yeah.
it, because if you are ever certain stuck in something like that can be the death of you, or the like that could be the one of the biggest detriments of your like existence, where if like it literally in okay, we want to your nightmares, like whatever situation that you had, your moral is I would never kill anybody, or I don't think killing is right. If this is a very fucking like the Ghost of Tsushima story is way more in depth than John's nightmare, and I obviously understand that. But this is like in that situation, and just thinking of applying this to other situations. If your morals were, I would never kill anybody, I can't like, and if you're like, oh, got someone has a gun to your head, or someone's like coming at you, and you're like, well, I set this moral in my life that I can't harm anyone, that would literally be the death of you, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
so
And I'm gonna preface this by saying you can cut it if you don't want to keep it in, because it's going to be a divisive statement. But that's in our current world when it comes to vaccinations
sure,
and people who are refusing to get them for religious reasons, saying, well, my religion will not accept it. And they won't compromise their morals. And what's happening is we're seeing more and more variants, uh, more and more spreading, more and more people dying because of it. Because they are slaves to their, I don't want to call it their honor, but their, I mean, their beliefs in that way,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and I obviously am never gonna not put something in based off of your opinion and belief. That's what makes all of us who we are. And there's
I just,
definitely an argument to be made about that, and anyone who can at least see what you're saying, I think is a slave to their honor.
I mean, my thing is like,
Sorry.
I, I've tried, I mean, we're on episode 12 now. And so for 12 episodes, I have been trying very hard not to get political.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that like you
but this relates to the story of the game in a way that I feel like it you can mention it without uh I
it's
can sneak it in.
yeah, and I mean I don't ever want this to become John squared politics, but political views are a part of who people are. So I don't want like if you ever feel compelled to say something, I will say I will if I feel compelled to say something, then I'm gonna fucking say it, and I'm not gonna apologize. I'll listen to other people's oppositions if they have them, and I always am open to like learning and hearing what other people have to say. But um no, I don't. I never am gonna silence anything that you have to say, and I would hope that it would be the other way around.
Well, the day that you silence anything I have to say is the day I quit.
There we go. Um,
And I am a slave to that honor.
okay. I don't even know where to go from here. I'm just gonna start saying that in my like normal life every day. Like anytime someone offends me, I'm just gonna start saying like someone pisses me off at work or something. I'm like, well, you're a slave to your honor. Just
Well,
saying
that's, you know what? Shout out Nick, your brother. Next time he says
yes.
some dumb shit in our group chat, I'm gonna say, Nick, you're a slave to your honor.
All right, let's do it. And he, I mean, I don't even think he listens, so he's gonna have no
He doesn't.
idea. Um,
Rude ass.
yeah, I just think this is a game that everyone who owns a PlayStation should experience.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much here, and I think it's like just overall like even if you didn't care about the story, the combat is for me is so addicting.
Which,
Nothing gets my dick harder than a perfect parry, you know what I'm saying? Like
like the platypus?
bro, what? Bro, I I'm gonna silence that That is, I'm gonna
I
shut that
quit.
down. You can quit, Chris. I'll fucking do this by myself. Fuck you, bro. No,
Um, but I mean that's not even touching on the multiplayer,
right,
which
right,
is also fucking incredible.
yeah. Legends is such a sick mode. Um, and there is story there that I haven't even experienced yet, which I'm excited to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole other side of this game that was free to begin with for people complaining about the price of DLC. So they gave us that for free. Just throwing that out there. Um,
I mean that the
if
DLC. Oh, I mean that. I guess that's my only complaint is the DLC does seem like less than 10 hours.
well,
If you're just playing the story, it's probably like a 4 hour story.
I think
I would assume.
if you're stuck valuing if you judge a game based off of how long you have to play and that's its value, I think that
I am
you're kind of a slave to that honor in my personal opinion.
slave to
Um
D's nuts, brother.
I was waiting for something like that. um but yeah, I I obviously recommend this game to anyone who has a PlayStation. Um, if you
This is
guys have
worth buying a PS4 for, not a PS5 because they're more expensive. If you can get a used PS4 just for this game, I would do it.
buy a PS5, buy the director's cut to get this in 60 frames per second, 4K. It looks amazing. Um,
Fucking dweeb.
buy a PS5
I don't even
and
know what a
play this
60
game.
frame per second is.
Yes, you do.
I see one frame, one screen. That's it. That's all I see. There was a glitch that I ran into in the game, uh, with the bird. I want to take it back about 20 minutes. I don't know if it happened to you too. Before I updated to like the director's cut edition, where this dumb motherfucker just kept running into rocks and like not, it couldn't get around it. It just ran into it and wouldn't
mm.
move. And so I was trying to follow it and I couldn't because the stupid piece of shit would just get stuck in the rock and would sit there for a little bit and then it would just disappear.
Yeah, I had a glitch in this game too, and it came to side quests. Is ultimately why I decided to go to Psychonauts 2 this week. I was trying to play through side quests, and there's like different tails on the side quest things, and I was getting through someone's tail, and I was like 6 out of like 7 tail like of the quests. There's 7 or 8 total quests or whatever. I got to like 6, and then it wouldn't let me play the 7th. It would sent me back to the second one, and it would not let me go past it. So I decided just to not um play that anymore. But still, aside from that, I don't know if that's a bug or if I'm doing something wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's just a side mission bug that I experienced. I didn't experience anything with the main campaign or the Iki Island expansion. Um, but yeah, I guess I'm just gonna keep saying the same thing about I just love this game a lot. So unless you had anything to add,
Rate it 1 out of 10 right now. Go.
8.5.
That's low.
No, it's not.
Give it like a 9.2 out of 10.
Hmm. 8.5 is
8.5
not.
seems
It's not low.
that's a B plus. A starts at 90.
I mean,
You just said that you took it out of B and you put it into A, and now you're not even giving it an A.
I guess I put it in. I took it out of B and gave it a
We're
B
nothing
plus.
here if we don't have continuity. How will
It's
they ever trust us?
Yeah, I'm sorry everyone. I suppose I did bamboozle, done amok, led y'all astray in this, but yeah, I'll stick to 8.5. Just because you made me do it off the top of my head and I didn't actually have time to think about it, and I guess I should have thought about it before because we knew we were reviewing this. But anyways, you said 9.2, I say 8.5. It's a great fucking game. Everyone should play it. And that'll do it for this week's topic of the show and this week's episode. I I can't believe that it went this long. But anyways,
Before we started, everybody, I said we have maybe an hour. And I feel like we've been going for like an hour and a half.
So yeah, shout out to everyone who's been supporting us. I'll say every single week, I fucking appreciate you guys so much. I love everyone. Love you all. Support us in any way you can. Obviously, look forward to stuff where we're talking about future things that we're gonna like more content other than the podcast and stuff. So look forward to that. Like and sub, like I said earlier, we really appreciate it. And
follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok.
Yep.
We're gonna start if we get 1 million views on our next TikTok. We will do the WAP dance.
Facts. Promise. Bet. 100%. I'll literally start learning it tonight if you guys can get us.
I mean, I wouldn't do that just yet. I would give it a minute.
I might just do it to do it. You know what I'm
saying? I mean, this doesn't come out till Friday, so maybe we gotta give it some time to mobilize.
Maybe that'll be our next TikTok. Is I'll give a preview of it. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, we love y'all. Until next week. Stay horny. Stay hydrated. Peace.